Now, there's been a lot of talk in the Middle East about victims and aggressors, extremism and compromise. But sometimes the words used by the political leaders are so stale they induce a kind of numbness. That, at least, is the view of the Israeli author David Grossman, whose latest novel is about the human cost of conflict. It happened in his own family when he lost his younger son in combat in 2006. I went to meet David Grossman in London and began by asking him if the title of his new novel, To the End of the Land, meant the end of Israel itself, and if that was something he'd contemplated.
I don't have to contemplate on it. It's there. I mean, it's a kind of a subcurrent that imprints, in a way, all our life. We exist in constant existential fear, and I don't think that there is another country on earth that its future is so questionable, so unguaranteed as Israel is.
The central figure is Ora, who's a mother who wants to walk in the wilderness in the Galilee because she can't bear the thought that her son is serving in the army and something terrible may happen to him. I wondered what it was that attracted you to that and to put it in a woman's voice.
So much of the book is about family life. I wanted to do two things: to write about life of a family, because I think that the greatest drama of humanity is the drama of the family. And I want to create this little bubble, very loaded bubble of family, and put it against the conflict, against the background of our conflict, and to show how such a tough, cruel and violent conflict radiates itself into this tender bubble and what it does to her. We had 20 good years for the family. In our country, that's almost chutzpah, isn't it? 20 years we had, a long time. And don't forget, Avram, that 6 of those years covered the 2 boys' army service. And they both served in the territories, in the lousiest places. The fact that we somehow managed to walk between the raindrops without really getting splattered even once from any war or terrorist attack, from any rocket, grenade, bullet, shell, explosive device, sniper, suicide bomber, metal marbles, sling stones, knife, nails. The fact that we just lived out a quiet, private life. Do you get it? A small, unheroic life, one that deals as little as possible with the situation, God damn it.
I think Ora, the main character in the book, is the anti-mother courage. She's mother fear. She's the mother. She's not just an Israeli mother. She's definitely not the Jewish mother as we think of the Jewish mother in general. But she's the mother. And I think one thing which struck me when I read the book is the fact that the very few female characters in the book, she's surrounded with men.
And the anxiety that his heroine, Ora, lives with, her fear that she may one day get the call to say that her son has died in action, that is a fear that grips every Israeli family. And what he has done in this novel is to describe and identify every texture, every nuance of those emotions. He has not just stated that Israelis live with a kind of existential fear, he has drilled deep and deeper into that feeling.
Now, I know it's difficult for you to talk about the loss of your own son. He was serving in Lebanon when he was killed during the Lebanon War in 2006. But there are obvious parallels between what happened to him and what happened in your fiction. Did that give you a new sympathy for the dilemma of the mother, Ora, in your book?
It made things more acute to me in my life and in my writing. When I wrote about it, as it always happened to me, I understand more. Through writing, sometimes I can understand things that I do not allow myself to understand in life. Writing is a very exposing act, and even a subversive act against the defense mechanisms of the writer. And nothing has changed in the book, in the plot of the book, but since the writer has changed after what had happened, I think the intensity of the book has changed, and the understanding that this cannot go on like that, that it is so terrible that the effort of creating a human being in this world, all what we invest in creating one human being, all these efforts and goodwill and devotion and attentiveness to all the nuances, to all the needs of this human being, on the one hand, and the easiness and the indifference with which we kill people, it is unbearable, just unbearable. And I hope that my book tells this story in the most intimate way.
You say in the epilogue of the book that Uri, during his military service, talked to you about the book. He was really interested and really engaged in that. I just wondered what that adds.
I'd rather not talk too much about Uri. It's very private to me yet, except of the fact of what had happened. But, you know, even before what happened, I felt this attentiveness to my children. You don't have to be Ora for that. You just have to be a parent. You just have to worry for your son or your daughter. Our daughters also go to the army. You just have to, you know, to do your best to create a reality for him that he will not have to go through things that you had to go when you were his age. I was also in the army. I deeply hope that when my children will have to go to the army, the situation will be somewhat different.
No death is acceptable, but of all people, that he should lose his son. And the fact that he could write about a mother who is afraid of the death of her son and still go on and write the book is incredible.
His heroine lives in fear of a knock on the door from the military authorities, and that very knock on the door came to David Grossman in the middle of the night during the Lebanon War, telling him his son had died. I think that infuses the book with an extra weight of grief and melancholy.
Ora's son Ofer says you should leave Israel if he's killed. Is that something you've ever considered?
I considered it, and there are always temptations for it, and I know when I will leave Israel, and this is when Israel will stop being a democracy.
Is that possible?
It's possible everywhere, and as long as we are stuck in this war situation, there is a growing temptation for fundamentalism, fanaticism, and all the bad things that can bring about the stopping of democracy. But I hope I will stay in Israel, because I deeply believe that for a Jewish person, Israel is the most significant place to be and to implement our culture and our history. And I think that part of the tragedy of the Jewish individual and the Jewish collective is that we have never really felt at home in the world. And now we have Israel for 62 years, and yet it is not the home it was meant to be. I want a home. I want Israel as a home. I want to have something that, I don't know if I can even explain it here to someone who was born here in Great Britain, and this is a kind of solidity of existence. We never felt a solidity of existence, never. And I want to have it. I want to be in my place, rooted in my country, with borders that are acknowledged by the Arab countries who are neighboring us, by the whole international community. I want to have a feeling that I shall have a future there. A real future, you know, sequence of generations. I'm not sure about that. all these can be achieved only when Israel has peace. Only then we shall be able to recover from the disease of our history.
The peace process which is begun again, clearly you think it's necessary. You don't sound optimistic, but you sound hopeful. Is that a reasonable distinction?
You know, we might be surprised, but first, I'm not sure that both our leaders, I mean, the Israeli leader and the Palestinian leader, are courageous enough to take the steps that are needed in order to achieve a compromise. And second, in a way, I feel that even if peace comes today, in some aspects, it comes a little too late. Because options of brutality, of contempt towards human's life, have been already engraved in both peoples. After 100 years of fighting, of killing, of not really believing in the option of peace, you know, regarding peace as a dangerous illusion. This might even prevent us in the future from maintaining this fragile peace, and I know that there will be so many elements, fundamentalist, nationalist, fanatic, who will do everything they can in order to assassinate this fragile peace to be. That maybe in a way it is too late for us.
David Grossman, thank you very much.